Hey, this is Sal. You are watching SalTV, competitive Team Fortress 2, where apparently most people are kind of focused on the game. But then we've got a few people out here more focused on the fans. Am I right? Am I right? No, I'm probably not right at all. But, of course, this is one of the most anticipated games of the season. It was casted last Thursday? No, Wednesday. Wednesday night. That's right. By DJC and Seabear. So if you haven't seen that yet already, whatever, it was good. On the other hand, there were some STV issues live that caused a lot of lag, and that was a problem, but I think they worked through it and actually had a fantastic cast. So if you've already seen it, don't worry about it. You already know what happens. But this is Mixup versus BP. So if you don't know what happens, this is the match for you, ladies and gentlemen. King of the Hill, Viaduct, 6v6. And it's two of the very best teams in the world. Certainly the best teams in North America. These two are considered the contenders to be like undefeated top teams. Right now we already have a Kritzkrieg coming in from BP, so hold the phone here. We've got a lot of damage coming in. Looks like that Kritzkrieg is mostly over. Didn't do a lot. Usually with a Kritzkrieg you want to kill at least the enemy medic, because otherwise if you don't kill him, he's going to come back in with a regular Uber, and that's going to be a problem. Where is Ruin right now? He is that blue medic for classic Mixup. And I did want to say some background info here. This is going to be an action-packed game, but classic Mixup, as they pop this Uber in here, they are considered the #1 team in the world. They won last season's ESEA season. They won the I-46 LAN in England, beating a bunch of European teams, and they beat basically a lot of the same players here on BP, which at the time was called Leviathan and had a couple of different players, but I mean, they've beaten these guys. So Mixup clearly the favorites to win this. They're pretty much on the same roster. Enigma, though, getting taken down here. And Ruin, I'm not sure why he was that far forward. Seems like there's a Kritzkrieg going on. Shade, meanwhile, the red demo man died. I'm sorry, the red medic. Oh, try again, Sal. Died off screen. But here we have kind of a linchpin of the BP team, Banny. Banny is the best demo man in the world, or one of them. Definitely one of them. I think there are people who would dispute the fact that he's the best these days. You've got some Europeans who are always like, no, our demo men are better. And of course, some of the Americans may be catching up. I don't know, but Banny practices all the time. A lot of people see him playing MGE training maps, the 1v1 training mod, where you just sit down in an arena and shoot each other until you are bored to tears. But no, Banny jumping right back in, trying to do a lot of damage, but classic Mixup jumping in after the med. They don't get Shade. You notice Shade over on that right-hand side. He's got like 40 health left. And he is feeling pretty healthy at the moment, actually. Bandy's going to start jumping forward the rest of his team again, and we're not going to change off his camera too much here because there is probably going to be a Kritzkrieg coming from BP pretty soon. Does anybody know what BP stands for? Well, the team themselves, they know for sure. But I actually don't. I have no clue what they intended that to stand for. Now, we are going to see Bandy hopping up here on this cliff. This is Pro Viaduct. It's similar to the regular Viaduct map, but not quite the same. And my god, Bandy just lands every sticky on Hard Blue. How does he do it? How does he do it? I don't know. It's, like I said, it's a lot of practice. He is a ridiculous player. But we've got a bunch of players coming in trying to do some damage here. And Shade, once again, that red medic just able to stay alive for so long. The sparkles you just saw there right now with Sizer, he has a sparkly community scattergun because he did a lot of work around helping new players get into the game and that sort of stuff. So he's got a community gun. Pretty cool that Valve gives those out. But Sizer here holding down the flank with his team, and scouts are extremely important on this map, of course. You've got to have that mobility, you've got to have that high damage, and there you go, wrapping around the side of that house just to take down Hard Blue once again. Now, Classic Mixup are having an interesting time here. They are way behind. If you notice, it's 2 minutes to 1 minute now, and finally, the Uber comes in. This time around, Shade actually does not have a Kritzkrieg. It's a regular Uber from Shade as well, and you see this Uber is much better timed, managing to completely knock Ruin into a corner there and just destroy him. Tagarung here is considered the roaming soldier for BP, and I have noticed a lot of you guys are relatively new to competitive TF2. Gotten some questions in my most recent videos that are like, hey, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should explain that a little better. So, the two soldiers, you're only allowed to have 2 soldiers in your team, otherwise people might have more, believe it or not. But 2 is the max, 2 scouts is the max, 1 demo and 1 med, they are also the maximum. We got Shrugger, who just never misses a shot, coming in after Ruin, and like I said, never ever misses a shot. Actually, people really compliment Shrugger for his dodging ability. But yeah, so you got 2 soldiers. One of them always plays with the medic, protects the medic, and then when the medic has like 100% Uber, the pocket soldiers who we're talking about here, he's the one who kind of leads the charge and says, okay, now we've got the Uber, take it in on me. The roaming soldier, meanwhile, tries never to stay with his own team's medic. Instead, he tries to stay with the other team's medic and just destroy him as much as possible. BP still holding the point down quite fiercely here. Bandy laying down a bunch of damage. Going for, oh my god, that pill! We need to go do an instant replay right now. So you see what Banny's doing here. He's hopping down. He sees his enemies, and he's going to lay down some pipes. And my god, just ridiculous damage going down there from Banny. He knows exactly where they're going to be, and he deals so much indirect damage, of course. Being a demo man, you can lob stickies and pipes over things that your opponents just can't do. YZ50, meanwhile, though, an amazing scout of his own. In fact, he and Enigma are considered some of the best scouts in the biz. But Banny helped him take down Enigma, no problem. Ruin the med down as well. Nobody able to get onto the point, and that means BP win the first round quite decisively. Mixup, I mean, they've got to be looking at each other like, wait a minute, guys. Something's going on here. BP have definitely dialed it up to 11. We're going to watch the Tagger room roll up this time. We haven't given him enough credit yet, but he is the roaming soldier for BP. The pocket soldier for BP, of course, is Lansky, who finally seems to have come into his own here on this team, doing a fantastic job. But Tag is going to play a very passive roaming soldier right now. He's not trying to bomb into the enemy med. He's just trying to hold down the flank for the moment. Tyler, TLR, and Hardblue both down. YZ50 as well. Tagroon came in and did just a bit of damage to the Mixup team. And I'm actually really surprised here. Mixup should be retreating already. You do see Ruin now trying to get out of there, and I think he'll escape with his life. You never know, though. Somebody might, this is Sizer, Invisible Scout, trying to escape there, trying to deal damage to Ruin as he escaped, but Ruin hit him with that crossbow, no problem. And so that means the Ubers are not even, but at least Mixup maintained it, so they can try and make an Uber push pretty soon. What I expect them to do is to send out some... Where's Hardblue? Hardblue, I want to see him jumping straight into the enemy med, because Hardblue is the roaming soldier for Classic Mixup. He is the one whose job it is to make the plays and build openings for his team. And you see the enemy popping the Uber, so Hardblue immediately jumps back. He doesn't want to deal with an invincible soldier. He just wants to kind of hang around for a little bit. YZ50 down. But no, Mixup actually can't take any space here. Hardblue dying right there. Platinum about to get caught up against a wall here. He's down. BP are looking masterful. Absolutely masterful. And so Lansky's just going to stick around with the med, like a good pocket soldier does. In fact, this is a beautiful thing to do on Viaduct. Some people, like in your average pub or whatever, they might complain this is a cheap tactic to guard these choke points so nobody can even get into the middle point. But that's exactly what you have to do. It's a very aggressive thing to do, an aggressive forward hold on Viaduct, and it just makes your opponents fight and bleed for every inch before they even get to the point. You see, of course, right now, Mixup trying once again to get in. Ruin, very low health right now. Lansky spots the demo man, Platinum, and Platinum's taking a lot of damage. Wow, Lansky destroying him, and he's just going to retreat on through the house, getting right back to the med once again. In fact, Shade is... This is interesting. Shade now has 100% Uber. He knows the Classic Mixup team are going to be pushing in after him, so he's staying really far back and letting the rest of his team rotate around for heals. But the rest of his team tries to stay a lot further forward, you'll notice, than the med. Finally, Shade decided to get a little frisky here, and the rest of his team is pretty much sticking with him. Enigma takes down Shrugger in that house, so finally Enigma winning that battle. He's going to start pushing forward on the rest of that enemy team. But can he actually get the shots right now? I am not entirely sure. And it sounds like the Ubers popped once again. Ruin popped his, but Shade, no, now Shade finally pops his. So remember, now that he's popped his so much later, this Uber is going to be much better and much more useful for the BP team. Usually. Ruin, I don't know what's going on here. Pulls out the Uber saw. Maybe he just wanted to have a little battle privately with Shade, but his scout managed to finish that off instead. That was Enigma killing the enemy medic. So Ruin's just like, come on, guys. I don't get all that often where I actually get to go kill someone in this game, and I really would have enjoyed it, but oh well. Oh well, guess we hold the point now, so, winning's pretty important too, I guess, gosh. Anyway, BP gonna jump right back in here. They are not waiting for Uber at all. They know they have a disadvantage. You see that they're much behind in the Uber. And Banny, Shrugger, Sizer, Lansky, every last one of them getting a kill there. So it's 4 down for Classic Mixup. They're trying to retreat. You see Tyler damaging himself just so his medic builds that Uber faster. It's one of those mechanics in TF2 that works a little funky sometimes. But the Uber builds just a little bit slower, and this is proven. I'm not like pulling stuff out of my butt here, but Uber builds slower if you are healing somebody who is at maximum overheal. So people will damage themselves to build that Uber faster. Tyler doing damage to Banny over on the side now, but Banny hits him exactly when that Uber fades. Mixup losing so many players right now. Hardblue able to jump in and do some damage. Finally kills Tagger, and he's like, okay, I got you now. I got you this time, Tag. Tag, you're it? No. Okay, I should have probably fit that one in a little later. But no, Platinum taking a lot of damage. And once again, BP with a huge lead in the time. Ruin getting taken down by Sizer. Sizer finally eats a rocket there and dies, but it is just non-stop action between these two teams. BP finally getting pushed off the point by an incredibly aggressive Classic Mixup. But the whole Mixup team just not looking too good right now. They are not coordinated. Their opponents are out DMing them. That DM skill, the deathmatch, as they call it. I think maybe it's a holdover from Quake. But that deathmatch skill is just looking really strong on BP right now. And once again, Harblu has to back away from the point. BP wins another round. Their enemies still had 2 minutes left on the clock. What is going on with Classic Mixup right now? I do not know. Because this is a big upset. To be frank, everybody was expecting BP to be the second place team in this season, and probably in the tournament at the end of the season at LAN, they'd probably get second place. And Shrugger and Sizer doing some good damage to Harblu there. Banny's in trouble though. No, Tyler down. Banny is just not letting up. He's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. This can't hurt me. And now, of course, Shade healing him up too. So no, the BP team, they may very well at this rate end up in a dominant first place position. By the way, this hat that Banny is wearing, it's not his normal hat. Normally he wears like a very dignified and solemn top hat. But this hat with all the bubbles, apparently Seabear and Banny have this idea where Seabear is a caster, he's a shoutcaster, and I'm sure you knew that. But if you didn't, he totally is. He does a lot of good shows. He's lent this hat to Banny, so Banny's going to play with the hat for the entire season. And then at the end of the season, Banny is going to gift the hat to a lucky winner of some kind of sweepstakes or raffle or something. I don't know exactly how it's going to work yet, but yeah, basically Seabear is going to help him give away the hat. So you never know. Maybe if you watch enough Seabear stuff, you might get the Banny hat. It's a pretty sweet hat, I'm not going to lie. Banny getting popped up in the air here, but he's still able to keep his opponents very far away from this choke point. And look at how much time he's buying for his team. Now there is going to be a halftime to whichever team gets 3 points first. Right now, of course, BP's already at 2 points. As you can see, their opponents have won no rounds yet. So they're at 0. And Harblu actually is having a terrible game. 6 points to Harblu. That's it. You know, he probably hasn't even gotten that many kills. One of them was probably like a capture point or something. You never know. It's not looking good. Finally, Harblu does take down Tag, so that will give him an additional point of pride there, I guess. One of those pride points. He's at 7. 7's respectable. But compared to everybody else in the field, that does tell a pretty big story. And Harb is probably feeling the heat just a little bit here. But Mixup have finally managed to take the position that their opponents took. Now Mixup are the ones that are holding forward, trying to keep their opponents fighting tooth and nail for every inch of the battlefield. And Harblu does retreat here, of course. Doesn't want to take too much damage, but the scouts find him. He just might anyway. Enigma and YZ50, in fact, the scouts from Mixup are both down, and Harblu is actually going to have to retreat here, take a lot of heals from his med, which he doesn't like to do. As a roaming soldier, you really don't want to be taking your medic's heals. You want those to be preserved for the pocket, Demo Man, and then sometimes for the scouts. The only time you really want to see a roaming soldier get healed is when he's getting like a 300 health overheal for jumping into the enemy team and dealing as much damage as possible before he dies. So normally if he was getting overhealed like that, that's what I'd say. But because both scouts were dead, I guess he just felt like he had to stick around and protect his medic instead of being offensive and doing any damage. Ruin does have an Uber and hasn't actually had to pop it yet. So that's a pretty good thing for Classic Mixup. You notice how close they are together. It almost looks a little bit like a soccer field sometimes, with these guys setting up like a front line, then a midfield, and a backfield with the med is you know, the goalie of the team, I guess. It's actually pretty well coordinated here. And they are watching their opponents and which side they push in. They see a scout trying to sneak in through the house. They're not going to let that happen. Platinum on the Demo Man. One of the greatest Demo Man of all time. Takes down Shrugger, no problem. And now Tag is down as well. So this Uber exchange probably going to be pretty good for the blue team. But the thing is, BP popped their Uber a lot later, so they're still going to have a little bit of extra invincibility time compared to their opponents. Harblu is down. Banny kills Ruin, so no more med for the blue team. And BP now looking pretty solid here. They've killed most, if not all, the enemy team. Is just Platinum left alive. Lansky wants to find him, but ends up damaging himself and not rocket jumping properly. Oops. What are you going to do? Shade respawns, though, very quickly, and he's going to have maybe like a 10% Uber advantage over Ruin. Yeah, about a 10%. That's not really anything that you can particularly push on, but at the very least, what it means is that BP can hold the point, and they don't have to worry about their opponents having that Uber. So we are going to watch as BP tries to set up the hold. Now, they aren't being that aggressive because they know their opponents are already pretty far forward, so they can't take that much space without dying. They've got to let their opponents push into them and then take advantage of over-aggression, which may be what happens. Tyler and Harblu, the soldiers, both down for Classic Mixup already. The scouts are now trying to jump in and make something happen, but YZ50 is down. Enigma taking too much damage. He's gone. Ruin and Platinum, the only ones left, and they are going to get chased down and destroyed here. Ruin... Ruin hit Lansky with that crossbow and actually finished him off. That's awesome. Ruin is becoming a crossbow master as right before your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. We always used to think Mezer, one of the old medics for, gosh, what team? Was that for the Space Whales? I think he was the Space Whales medic. Mezer always used to be the master of the crossbow. He got some really sick crossbow moments, but Ruin's been doing a fantastic job with it this time around. Now the Uber is ready to go, but remember the enemies have an Uber as well, and Ruin, he's going to pop it. Oh, actually, Tag and Shrugger are both down for BP, so this is a good opportunity for Mixup to get damage done. Even though their opponents have an Uber, as soon as this Uber is over, it's going to be 6v4. Ruin, he's been taken out, but there's still 5 really heavy classes out there, damage-dealing classes for Classic Mixup, and they are capping the point in overtime. So, what overtime means is there was a little bit of cap time left on the point, so as long as that cap time still exists, it's still in overtime. As soon as it all fades away or it's captured, the overtime goes away. So, basically, if BP caps that point back, now they win. There is no overtime anymore after they cap it. That's what's going to happen. And BP, they're feeling really good about this. They want to push in right now. Shrugger looking for sticky traps. You notice him checking above himself there. Shrugger now, he sees that a soldier is not paying attention to him, but he's got to be really careful. Not a lot of health on a scout. Got to back off real fast. Tyler, meanwhile, is wanting to be aggressive with this, but he's got too little health. His med has to keep the heal beam on him the whole time, and that's not a good thing. However, Sizer and Shrugger are both down. Nice little attempted jump there by Lansky, but he gets taken out, swatted out of the air by Tyler. Probably a nice little air shot. Tyler is, of course, known for hitting ridiculous air shots, like, all the time. He goes for air shots, and sometimes people on his team actually complain that he goes for the air shots too much. They're like really low probability shots, but he still hits so many of them. He's still very effective. Hardblue actually still having to play pretty far back here. This is not a very friendly map to roaming soldiers, as much as it is to like sometimes a sniper. Sometimes you actually want your soldier to switch out to sniper. But that can be iffy on this map too. Sniper's not as good on Pro Viaduct as it is on regular Viaduct. The sight lines are greatly reduced, even though it may not look like it. That is the case. And finally, Classic Mixup will win a round. So we're not going to halftime yet. We still have at least one more here. BP finally looking like there's a crack in the armor. They're like, okay, all right, hang on. We need to polish and buff this armor back up. Just give us a second. Give us a second. No, okay, they're totally ready to go here. Banny taking this cliffside rollout and attack from over here where he's relatively safe. His opponent seems to be doing the same thing. So neither of them are really sniping at each other yet. There you go, now they will. And big damage coming in. Banny actually overshoots that air shot onto, I think it was Tyler, yes. But then Tyler gets taken out by his opposing soldier on the pocket soldier, that is Lansky. Mixup now in a little bit of trouble, but they could still salvage this. They can get one kill very quickly. It's just that Shade almost has his Uber. Platinum has decided, no, okay, we are going to retreat. It's the wise call. He and Ruin are going to back out of here. And you know, for a team that was completely undefeated and never lost a single map last season, Classic Mixup is actually looking a little shaky. Of course, they are down on the points, so it's very clear that's shakiness right there. A good jump in there by the soldier. He's going to have to try and retreat. That's probably Tyler, and no, it's Hardblue, actually. He will not get away, but he did what he wanted to do, which is force the enemy to pop their Uber or lose their med. And obviously, pop it, don't drop it. Enigma coming in now, and nice shots on Shade, and actually some pretty nice dodging there for a second too, right up until Lansky hit him with that direct rocket to the face. Oh god, I just bit my tongue. Face is what I meant. Just ow. Oh, it's terrible. But I'm gonna keep casting because it's a great game. BP, of course, trying to jump in and regain the point, but Mixup not gonna let him have it for now. They are holding on. And Banny, actually, is he by himself? No, okay, he's got a soldier to guard him. Usually you do not want to see a demo man by himself. That's very easy pickings, unless he's got sticky traps everywhere. And it takes a little while to set those up. But no, it's actually working pretty well. Enigma coming in on the heavy, and we've seen Enigma play heavy before. It's actually a pretty cool thing, because when he brings it out, he's serious. He's like, I'm not just bringing this out to troll. I'm bringing this out because it is the best way to hold a position. He's actually done it before in England, in an I-46 tournament. It was an amazing hold on the middle points of a map called Warm Front, reskin of Cold Front. I'm sure the video exists out there, and there's actually a big joke that basically his opponents kept trying to push into the middle point, and he was just standing on the roof of this house where nobody could hit him as a heavy, and nobody could jump into him, so it completely stalemated the game and won it for Classic Mixup. He's a very smart player. When he brings out that heavy, he's thought about it. But let's see the Enigma cam. He's actually going to get taken out pretty soon here. They will focus him unless the Uber goes off, and he probably should. Yes, they do go ahead and pop that Uber. They see Shade coming in with it. Enigma just trying to escape right now. He knows that Uber's actually not for him, interestingly enough. The Uber is for the soldiers in the demo, man. But no, Enigma is going to die. BP finally pushing in here and getting a lot of damage done. You see that most of Classic Mixup have very little health right now, and they are all backing away. Very good play by BP to deal that much damage that quickly. And Tagarung. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong, but whatever. No, Tag is going to be holding down the flank along with his fellow scout. And we have not seen the sniper this game yet. You really expect to see that. You notice that Tag realized he was in some deep trouble there, so he decided to try and back away, hitting himself with a rocket and trying to rocket jump backwards. But no, Mixup is not going to let him get away with that. So Tag's down. The thing is, even though Ruin has an Uber right now, he's only got 4 players up. 2 of them just respawned, and he's going to be feeling a little bit goosey about trying to push this Uber forward. They'll do it now. They've got the soldiers back with them and everybody. But by this point, they've actually let Shade get an Uber of his own. And can they actually force Shade to pop that Uber quickly enough? No, they're going to have to pop theirs first. Shade will pop his second. You see him doing that. And once again, BP just has better Uber exchanges. So they force their opponents to pop the Uber earlier by laying on a bunch of damage. And then they have all the time in the world to just milk it and wait to pop theirs. And it's working out really, really well for them. I think this is going to be another round win for BP. Tyler getting taken out here. Good attempt at an air shot there by Lansky. Not going to happen, though. And finally, it's going to be a scout and a soldier jumping into this point. Shade going for the needle kills. He realizes Hard Blue is at very low health, and so Lansky will finally finish him off there with a nice rocket. Banny coming out once again. We're going to watch the Tyler cam, though. We haven't seen enough of this recently. And Tyler wants to take a jump in, try and stop his opponents from recapturing very quickly. There's a lot of damage. Shade's down. So is Sizer, so that's a decent set of kills here. But BP actually should be able to take the point. YZ50 going to finish off Banny, which is a nice kill. And actually, no, the more Mixup gets these respawns coming in, the more they're going to try and stop this cap. Hard Blue realizes he wants to buy every second possible. And a nice kill on Tag will let him do just that. He places a rocket perfectly at Lansky's feet there as Lansky was landing, but it's just not enough, and BP are going to come back in to recap once again. Shade actually just ate a crossbow, I think, and then also a sticky from Platinum, so he's not feeling very healthy right now. Another sticky from Platinum coming very close to ending his life, but Shade is still with us in the world of the living, for better or for worse. YZ50 taking down Sizer, meanwhile, so that's a scout for a scout trade. Banning down, and Mixup will recapture this point very quickly. It is a back-and-forth game, in case you couldn't tell. And now BP are setting up on the cliff to try and go in once again. They know they have a time advantage, so if they can just make one clean push, take out their opponents, get the kills, and get the point, they should be able to win this game. They're doing just a little bit of long-range damage right now, which, remember, there is a bit of fall-off. Tyler just took like 3 or 4 rockets at once, though. First thing, you could really only take 2 at once. Whatever. The point is, he died before Ruin was able to pop that Uber, and that's going to be a big deal. Losing that many players in the middle of your Uber is really, really bad. YZ50 and Hard Blue are both down. It's only 2 players left alive. BP are going to get exactly what they want. They've captured the point. They've got 12 seconds left on the clock here before it is halftime. And, you know, Mixup will try to push in. They got to make the desperation play. But that desperation play is going to get stuffed. Enigma and Tyler both down. YZ50 trying to walk through the choke points. He's gone. That is halftime, ladies and gentlemen. 3-1 for BP versus Classic Mixup. All right, starting the second half, we have BP, of course, leading, which is an improbable position for them. But Classic Mixup may have something to bring back here. We'll have to find out. Just remember, this is only played to 4 points, so if BP win the next round, then that's it. It's over. If Classic Mixup win the next round, well, they'll be okay. Lansky dealing some damage here at mid. Gonna have to go ahead and bring the camera out as we see Tag eating dirt. Hard Blue, meanwhile, gets finished off, so it's a roamer for a roamer. In fact, no soldiers are left on the field for either team. Mixup, though, taking the best of that exchange. Their opponents have to cede ground. I was going to say retreat, and then I wanted to say cede ground, and it turned into cede. Like a hairline. Receding hairlines. That's pretty much what I was saying. Regardless, it worked decently well, I guess. You knew what I meant, right? They gave up their position. Anyway, the Uber has been popped right now for Ruin, and in fact, I wasn't paying too much attention to that, but that was sort of a suicide there, probably by Sizer and Taggering, and Sizer was the only one who actually went down, and we are going to see a nice Uber, Ruin getting way caught out there, but the thing is, he managed to overheal Hardblue on this heavy quite effectively, and nobody's able to focus him down just yet, so Hardblue still has 150, or 250 health, I'm sorry. That's a lot of health to try and take away, especially when he is staring you down and he's got the gun spun up. That's a scary thing. But he is taking attacks from two different sides right now. BP, maybe not quite prepared for the level of aggression they're seeing from these scouts. Enigma and YZ50 are both doing a fantastic job right now, trying to put the team, if not on their back, then at least on a stretcher and carry them to safety. But will Mixup be able to hold this out? I actually don't know. See if this match works out for them or not. YZ50 gonna start taking some damage. Enigma's already down, so YZ is gonna have his work cut out for him here. No, Shrugger eats his lunch, and Classic Mixup have already lost that control point once again. They do have a nice lead in the time, actually. They burned 120 minutes, 120 seconds, that's not even correct. A minute and 20 off the clock while their opponents hadn't taken any time down yet. Platinum really wants to go through there, but no, he's actually taking way too much damage. Going to have to probably go back into spawn. So BP doing a really nice forward hold once again. They have proven they are very good at this. But they do lose Shrugger. YZ50 gets a nice chip shot on him. And how do you walk through this choke point when you've got like soldiers and Demo Man spamming at you non-stop? Hardblue down already. This is his poor little corpse there. Looking sad, pathetic. And, oh, Lansky down. Shade was not able to pop that Uber in time, and Enigma's actually way behind him in the team. Taggering is down now to Enigma as well. Nice little wraparound by Enigma. So we are going to see Mixup taking the point here. They've got a nice player advantage, and they've only lost Tyler at the moment. Enigma trying to play smart here. He wanted to see if he couldn't catch his opponents trying to retreat, but instead he just got caught out himself. Mixup still owned the point, though, and Shade is going to have to fight for his life here. He's sticking very close to this escape route. You see, he does not want to leave the safety of that little hallway that will take him back to his spawn. But now his team's getting a little bit more aggressive, dealing with just a little bit more damage, and you see them wanting to push forward, so he is going to have to stick with the rest of the team. Push up a little bit, and is Hardblue or Tyler going to try and jump in on him once again? Not at the moment. They realize that would actually be suicide. Nonetheless, Hardblue kills himself. Totally missed that, but it happens. It does happen. Hardblue is known for just occasionally making a bit of a mistake in his play. Still, he does enough like wicked, creative, weird plays to make up for it, I think. Platinum trying to build the super as fast as possible. They're only at 95%. It should be enough. Yes, it will be enough to save the point for them. They're going to bring in, is that YZ50? It, in fact, is. So YZ50 and Platinum both going to try and stop this with their Uber. But it's not enough, as Shade, once again with the better Uber. And Sizer now trying to kill Platinum. Not going to happen quite yet here. And yet, Mixup still being kept away from this point very effectively. BP, they want to win this. It's just that right now, they've actually lost Banny, and losing Banny is a pretty big deal. Lansky wants to bring the rest of his team in. Push forward. Take the point. Do a book. No, wait, read a book. Do a report. Get a book. That's what he wants to do right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you were not a child at the same time that I was. Or perhaps you were not from the United States. Anyway, book reports. Book reports. Classic Mixup still on the point, and this round actually is looking pretty good for them. Maybe they've actually turned back on the old Classic Mixup charm. I don't know what I was gonna say. The mojo. They've got the mojo back. BP, of course, gonna jump in here. They know Ruin is nowhere close to the Uber, but they also see that he's able to retreat back into that hallway if he needs to. So BP's gonna back up to the point, get that captured. Taggering already down, but Enigma and Ruin both gone as well. And Ruin, remember, he is the med. Last season, Ruin was actually playing Scout, which is a pretty big switch. He's a very good medic, and he was always known as being a good medic, but his Scout play was incredible. So replacing him with YZ50 on the Scout, I don't think that's... I think it's basically a side grade. It's not an upgrade or a downgrade. They're both really good, but not having Ruin on a Scout, I mean, that's always going to matter. YZ50 down already. Shrugger doing some good damage here. Banny taken down in exchange. Mixup, they still want to push this, and I think they can. They've only lost one Scout compared to a Demo Man. Now they're killing more and more players here. Tyler in a little bit of trouble. He's going to have to hook up with the med once again. Thought he might have to get health pick, but nah, med's right here.
And now Tyler jumps in, sees his opponents have popped the Uber, and so immediately makes a decision, you know, I don't want to stick around there. I'm going to get away and steal your health kits. And then jumps in right behind. He's found Shade. He's not going to let him get away. No, sir. And even if Tyler dies now, it doesn't even matter. He's done what he needed to do. He got the enemy med. He gave his team the point. And this round is looking a lot closer than it was a minute ago, because BP held the point for a minute. But I think Mixup should have this. They've almost got their Uber ready to go. Ruin shouldn't have any problem staying alive unless... Oh, no, he does. Okay, he gets the Uber in time, and that's going to leave his team Ubered on the point, defending it. Perfectly done. BP will lose that round. It is now 2-3. Can Classic Mixup continue this streak? They need to if they want to continue their undefeated season, because they just might not. Now that I think about it, though, is BP undefeated? They might be. And maybe they could go for an undefeated season here. So both of these teams, of course, like I said, the best two in North America. Mixup were originally the favorites to win, but suddenly they're not. Watching their playstyles, I mean, of course these teams are evenly matched. They're like Professor X and Magneto, and I wouldn't even know which is which, but Tag and Banny are doing so much damage right now. Platinum somehow just barely dodging that rocket, threading the needle there, but it doesn't even matter. Mixup manages to completely wipe out. BP will capture the point for the first time in this round. And now they're going to hold upstairs again. A very good place to hold. Of course, enemies have to like walk out of these choke points, jump up here just to deal any kind of damage. By the time they've done that, they've usually taken a whole bunch of damage of their own. Tag room down though. Mixup making an interesting play here, jumping out the right-hand side before their opponent's really able to see that. And Tag has eaten the dust as a result. BP will have to back up. Ruin nowhere near his Uber yet, but he's actually really far forward considering that. Anyone wants to jump in. Everybody wants to jump in, really. Ruin trying to heal his teammates with that crossbow. It is a long-range healing weapon. Ruin actually somehow didn't take any damage from that. I am confused. I thought that rocket would hit him for sure, but apparently the rocket was going for somebody else. It had someone else's name on it. Uber is almost ready to go. Can Mixup keep themselves alive for long enough? Yes, they can. Ruin, perfect positioning here. Not going to let his opponents take him down. And now Mixup will push back in. After a minute of their opponents holding the point, they will recapture. And they don't even have to pop Uber, actually. Shrugger died, Tag died. Mixup can push pretty far forward here with this Uber if they want to, or force their opponents to push into them. Whatever the case, they want to hold the point for as long as possible. So that is their goal right now. They've got to win this round, and the one after that. They've got to win 2 rounds, basically. And that's a tall order against BP. BP, tough team. You see what Shade's doing back here. He's allowing the rest of his team to go in for a suicide. They're trying to force the pop on Ruin. Ruin has to stay alive here. He has to not pop the Uber. If he pops it, he's toast. And his team is toast. But he did manage to stay alive. So now, Sizer and Shade, they have built that Uber back there to 100% in spawn, while the rest of the team went and tried to force Ruin's Uber. And failed. But that's okay. BP is still leading in time, and they can push with the Uber they've just built up now. So basically the 4 teammates who died were perfectly expendable right there. Uber's coming in, and a nice air shot on an Ubered soldier. Doesn't do any damage, of course, but is going to knock him out of the air for a second. It's just a little bit of delaying action. It's always nice. BP losing a couple players here. Enigma coming in and trying to deal the damage and clean this up. He spots the... Interesting, he didn't go for the medic there, you'll notice. He saw the med was healing someone. He was healing Banny, and he went for Banny instead of the med. That's one of Enigma's powerful brain actions going on, making the decision that he was like, nope, you know what? I don't care about their med quite as much as I care about Banny, because if I can take down Banny, I know I can stop them from repushing the point. Instead, he couldn't take down Banny, sadly, and that means BP, once again, own the point. They're behind in the time just a little bit. By the time Mixup managed to recapture it, they will be ahead again. So what does YZ50 do about this? He's still playing really passive, maybe just not trusting in his own... Oh, Harblue getting air shots. Lansky with some sick air shots there. YZ50 maybe not confident with his own playstyle today, because he is not being as aggressive as I remember the scout to be. YZ50 is a... Back last season anyway, when he was playing for the Space Whales, he was extremely aggressive. He was like, I'm going to be in your face all the time. Platinum and YZ50 both down right now, though. Mixup losing a couple players. They've got a big Uber advantage, so all they need to do now is sit back. I think they forced Shade's Uber just a little while ago, so they can just sit. Sit is what I was going to say. Sit back. And Enigma actually gets taken down behind enemy lines. Not what he wanted to be doing, I guess, but it doesn't even matter. They've still got a nice Uber advantage. They can push in with this. And they want to capture the point. Ruin getting forced here. And I'm willing to bet that Shade is as far away as possible. Yes, He is going to get away from that just fine. A rocket snakes in through there, but Shade's already gone. He is already gone. Mixup will recapture the point, and we're getting very, very much down to the wire now. If BP are going to win this round, they got to do it in the next push or two. And Tyler, where's he going? Up on the cliff, gonna deal some nice damage to Sizer. So already this push is not looking the greatest from BP. You see the Uber pop very quickly. Tyler's gonna have to turn things back around. Tag and Banny both down, but so are Enigma and Ruin. YZ50 now looking around for the kills. He is on the prowl. He's like a shark. He's hunting things down. Not quite able to hit things, though, and suddenly Jaws is looking defanged. BP capturing the point, not losing a single player in that attack somehow, unless maybe one of them respawned. But no, I don't think they did, and Mixup just got trashed. So Mixup, if they want to stay in this game, they got a gap like right away. This is ridiculous. BP are looking so incredibly strong in this game, and they've always been a strong team, but to beat Mixup by this much, it's pretty incredible. We've got Mixup jumping in right now for one last hurrah. They've got to capture the point and hold it for 50 seconds. Enigma down, so is Taggerim. Shrugger is trying to keep Banny protected right here. That's all he cares about at the moment. And Banny destroying Hardblue there with some sticky bombs. Shrugger, excellent dodger, but even that's not going to save him from YZ50 this time around. And Banny hits a nice air pipe, does help take down Tyler. Ruins is the only one left for his team. 11 seconds left here on the clock. Ruin down as soon as BP capture this. They are going to be winding down the seconds until they win this game. Classic Mixup. They tried. They tried and they tried, but Enigma down, and that is pretty much going to be it. It is the last desperation push. They are already calling GG. That is classic Mixup losing the game. So BP looking solid and happy about that one. They have defeated the team that was thought unbeatable. The team that has been on a streak for 2 seasons now. Classic Mixup finally loses a game, and who better to take it off them than BP? Of course, thank you very much for watching. This has been Sal, and I hope you watch some more. I hope you are enjoying the channel. And if you just found out about it today, well, hit that subscribe button because I do this all the time. All the time.